So just the day after the Russell Wilson trade to the Denver Broncos, we now have another trade and another quarterback in the NFL switching to another team, as the Washington Commanders, haven't gotten used to that one yet, have acquired Carson Wentz from the Indianapolis Colts for a pair of third-round picks. Now, this is not the big splash move for an elite quarterback that the Denver Broncos did yesterday for Russell Wilson, but this is a move for an upgrade at the quarterback position for Washington, and perhaps the best quarterback that team overall has had since Kirk Cousins. Now, I know there's a lot of people who don't like Carson Wentz, but he was actually a lot better than what you think he was in 2021. We just have it burned into our memories, that horrible loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the final week of the season. But Carson Wentz was actually really good last year. I mean, he had 27 passing touchdowns, which is good for 10th in the NFL among quarterbacks. He finished as the quarterback 14 in fantasy football, which is only 9 fantasy points behind Derek Carr. So ultimately, you have a very solid quarterback 2 in Superflex Dynasty leagues if you have Carson Wentz still, because he is going to be the starter for Washington. And if you have him as a quarterback 3, that's even more fantastic, because you don't have to rely on playing him every single week. You can mix and match and stream him in on really good matchups. So overall, I think this is kind of a horizontal move for Carson Wentz in terms of his dynasty value and at least the production that we're going to see in 2022. What this could potentially help is Terry McLaurin, who now potentially is playing with the best quarterback that he's ever played with in the NFL since entering in 2019. Maybe Carson Wentz is the quarterback to kind of help unlock Terry McLaurin and move him into that next step of being good for fantasy football, more so than he's already been as a back-end wide receiver 2 over the past few years, but now potentially vaults him into being a back-end wide receiver 1 with the targets and the receptions, receiving yards that he's already gotten. His problem has just been touchdowns. But like I said, Carson Wentz, top 10 in passing touchdowns last year. Maybe he can bring a little bit of that over to Washington and be able to throw Terry McLaurin a little bit more than just a handful of touchdowns, which is really going to help elevate Terry McLaurin to that back-end wide receiver 1 status that we are hoping to get in this past year. On the flip side, for the Indianapolis Colts, this obviously does has an effect, as now they don't have a quarterback right now. Rumors are that they are looking to potentially trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, although I'm not really sure why they would want to do that, because personally I would rather have Carson Wentz than Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's neither here nor there. That's potentially the rumor that we are looking at, is that they either go to Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe they can make a move for somebody else, or they have a rookie quarterback. All in all, I'm not really sure how this is going to impact Michael Pittman. I think is the biggest impact on this team for the Indianapolis Colts, another player who, very similarly to Terry McLaurin, valued very similarly in Dynasty, scored pretty similarly. They had almost identical stat lines minus a few receptions, and Michael Pittman scoring 1 extra touchdown last year. So ultimately, they are pretty similar wide receivers. So maybe it ends up being that Terry McLaurin finishes as a wide receiver 18 in 2022, and Michael Pittman is the one to finish as wide receiver 26, flip-flopping what they did in 2021. Obviously, I don't think this has an impact on Jonathan Taylor. Dude's a beast. He's going to do everything that he already did last year on his own, just because he's that freaking good at football. I don't think this impacts T.Y. Hilton. We're not really worried about or anything like that, or any other wide receivers that were to come into the Indianapolis Colts already. Like I said, it feels pretty neutral, even if they were to move to a Jimmy Garoppolo kind of level quarterback, that it feels like none of this is really a net positive for either the Indianapolis Colts or the Washington Commanders. At least for fantasy football, it all just seems very neutral on both sides. So if you're somebody who has Terry McLaurin and you're able to sell high on him right now on the prospect that he is going to be that wide receiver 1 that we thought he would be last year with Carson Wentz, I would definitely be looking to sell. Or vice versa, if somebody's a little worried now on Michael Pittman and you can buy for a little bit lower, maybe as like a 2nd round pick or something like that, then I would definitely go out and buy him as well, because the difference between those 2 wide receivers, like I said, doesn't seem to be all that big, even though now one of them has Carson Wentz and the other one doesn't. So let me know down in the comments how you guys feel about this move, if it benefited any of your players on your dynasty leagues, if you are buying or selling any players because of this trade. Let me know all that stuff down in the comment section. With that all being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch y'all later.